Hi, I'm Dr. Frank A. Thomas with another installment of Living Your Passion. Today, I want to talk to you about 3 keys of spiritual leadership. I talked a little bit about this early on, but I want to go back to it because it's based in the Galatians 6 text, where Paul is talking to the Galatian Christians about spiritual leadership. What Paul is saying, Paul calls the spiritual ones, in the Greek, it's the pneumatikoi, the ones who are spiritual. And, we define spiritual in all kinds of ways. We define spiritual by how long you've been in the church. Just because you've been a member of the church for 25 years, we assume you're spiritual. We also, because you give a certain amount of money, we define you as spiritual. We have all these worldly definitions of what's spiritual. Paul has a definition of spiritual ones in Galatians 1, 6 through 5. He says that spiritual people have the creativity to restore those who are found in a fault. Paul says it takes tremendous creativity to restore people who are found in a fault. He means by that, the word fault is the Greek word for a broken bone. People who, because of sin, are broken off from the body of Christ. People who make these kind of mistakes, huge mistakes. Paul says spiritual people are the ones who know how to restore people gently. A lot of us don't know how to restore people gently. What we know how to do is spread gossip about people. What we know how to do is talk about people. We don't know how to restore people gently. So Paul calls the leaders. And so when I think of leaders in churches, I'm wondering how many of us know how to restore people gently. The second thing Paul says is that you have to be humble. You can't think too highly of yourself. So sometimes we think that people are making mistakes, but because we've been in the church or because of our spiritual level, it's beyond us. There's nothing that's beyond us. Paul says, be careful. As my grandmama used to say it, this is a paraphrase, people in glass houses ought not throw stones. And when we act like we're above sin or we cannot fall into sin, then we develop a kind of pride, a kind of hubris, and that allows us to look down on people. We can't look down. Spiritual people don't look down on anybody because they know if it were not for the grace of God, they themselves would have fallen into a fault. And thirdly, Paul says spiritual people don't compare themselves to other people. We spend so much time. What do the neighbors have versus what we have? How far is the next church versus our church? Comparing ourselves. Paul says spiritual people understand they have a unique call from God that is unique to them, and they're so busy living out their unique call. They don't have time to keep comparing themselves to other people. Paul calls this spiritual leadership. Are you a spiritual leader? Can you restore people gently? Do you say, no matter, I'm not going to, be arrogant because I could fall at any time, at any moment? Are you able to not compare yourself to others? To realize that you have a gift and they have a gift, and you can celebrate their gift and you can celebrate their gift? Do you have a hard time celebrating other people's gifts? Paul says these are the characteristics of the spiritual ones. I hope they're operating in your life. I pray for an increase. We need spiritual leadership. We need spiritual leadership in homes. We need spiritual leadership in businesses. We need spiritual leadership in church. We need spiritual leadership in relationships and friendships. We need spiritual leadership. We need people who can restore people gently. We need people who don't think more highly of themselves than they ought to think. And we need people who are not always comparative and trying to judge where they are based upon where other people are. Listen, this is what spiritual leadership is. I pray that you're a spiritual leader. Thank you again for listening to this spiritual vitamin. I hope it blesses your life. I want to remind you that every Monday we have a Periscope call live, 8 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Time, U.S., on preaching. We teach on preaching. Every week we upload to SoundCloud. So we want you to be sure, check SoundCloud. I drop a spiritual vitamin on SoundCloud. We also, every Monday, will release a video teaching on preaching. And on Friday, we release another version of Living Your Passion. Please share it with friends, share it with your family, discuss it around the dinner table. Just have access, just be be free with the material. I just wanted to bless lives. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to talking with you again next week. God bless you.